Tuning in to the online broadcast network, AfterBuzz TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AfterBuzz TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Candidly Nicole's After Show, the recap. I know you all are happy because we're happy to be back together. The gang's all back in the house. Happy. I'm Vivian Adobe, your host, and I'm followed by my lovely co-host.
Hi, I'm Brandon Marlowe. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at BAMARLO.
And I'm Jordana Morphin, and you can follow me at Jordana_Morphin on Instagram and on Twitter.
And as always, you guys can follow me, Vivian Adobe, on Instagram and also on Twitter at VivaciouslyViv. So this was a very happy episode for numerous reasons. But getting into it, it starts off with Nicole and her possum situation.
First of all, what was she wearing?
Yeah.
Like, she just comes out with her, I don't even know what you call those kind of hats, but
it's like an Asian
but
it's
her
a field
whole
hat.
Outfit,
field hat, yeah.
But then she was wearing like pink purple overalls with a long sleeve black shirt. She was just like a little mess.
She was a
so
fashionista.
Yeah.
She still looked good.
But
Farmer
she's adorable.
fashionista.
Yeah, but it was so funny.
Yes. So she's, outside. She sees this possum. Did you guys think it was real? Because at first I thought it was, maybe a stuffed animal or maybe a mechanical something.
When I saw it, I didn't expect a possum to come out. I was expecting a raccoon to come out. That's what I was thinking. But then I saw a little face pop up. But that's so gross. That's one of my worst. I hate seeing like possums and raccoons digging through your trash and whatnot.
My first instinct is always to touch them. I always want to run up and grab. I know they're furry and kind of gross rodents, but raccoons and even possums, we talked about this. The tails are the only thing that throw me off, but they are kind of cute. And so when she saw it, she was hesitant to approach it, rightfully so.
Right. And it was a very interesting way to start the show because, as we mentioned in previous episodes, normally they would start off with her on the white background, but instead they started it off showing us what the impetus for the whole episode is about. But going into her white background, I was loving the periwinkle white top she had on when she was introducing the episode, pretty much.
Super
cute. She was really rocking it this episode style-wise. First off, before we even go deeper into the episode, what were you guys feeling about, the show overall from this episode? Besides the fashion, which was so on point this episode, I was loving this one.
It wasn't one of my favorite episodes. I won't. It had its moments where, obviously, you guys heard me. I was like dying laughing.
Right.
But I don't know. There was something, I can't really call it, but it wasn't one of my favorite ones that we've seen.
It wasn't my favorite at all.
Yeah.
Fair.
And I think it's because they're getting to be so scripted. It feels...
This one was very scripted.
It feels unreal to me in not a parody way, not a funny way, not in a Nicole way. And I don't know if it's who's surrounding her, because she's the only thing that maintains and retains its authenticity throughout every episode. She seems pretty real, but everyone around her, it's forced, and that to me takes me out of it immediately.
I think the reason too was because this one we saw a lot of new faces, and they were just very. I think it was like too random,
A lot of it felt like filler.
It was just kind of like, okay, like you said. But that's what I felt. I felt like it was like a very random episode. Even though all of her episodes are really random. But this one is just like...
It's not really, because for a while at the very beginning, we said each episode had a theme of becoming more like becoming an artist or becoming a businesswoman. And these last few episodes, especially once we mentioned that mid-season funk, it kind of been really random, not the same formats as previous episodes. Out of the latter half, I feel like this was probably one of the better episodes, but I completely see where you all are coming from, where it's not as great as some of the first couple episodes we were dying at, but you know.
You know what I thought was interesting was the stance they took for the episode, because it's called Gay,
right?
And which is such a hot topic right now, you know, in the media, that it can go one or two ways. Either people will have really great reception to it, or it'll be poorly received. And there was a lot of stereotyping in the show, which doesn't bother me as a gay man at all. I think it's hilarious. I've learned to laugh at just about everything, but I thought that was kind of a bold move to have it so rooted in
the episode,
in being gay, not so much about what they were actually trying to accomplish. But I think it brings good commentary, and just once again, kind of any media coverage is good to get people talking. So that's something I do think was positive about the show.
Right. It was a very interesting twist of the word, since I don't know too many people who still refer to gay in the definition meaning happy, which is why we had that song from Pharrell playing earlier. That's a really great point. I was even really curious about your perspective, because a lot of the stuff seemed very comical, but then some stuff I was like, oh no, Nicole.
I think that a lot of shows do that now, is almost, it's referential to stereotypes, but to characters. And I think that's really what she tries to accomplish in everything, is it's all character based. It's supposed to be funny. She doesn't obviously mean anything with any sort of malicious intent.
Right.
So for me watching it, I think it's hilarious. But for other people watching, I think there can be some things taken away from that might be received negatively. But again, anytime you're talking about it, anytime you're discussing or highlighting something that is so controversial right now, thank you, that you're going to run into that. So I commend her really for taking that step and doing a show on something that a lot of people might not love.
Right. And also, I feel like you have to understand her humor to really get that. You're right. She's not malicious. She's trying to, just have a little fun.
Right.
And getting into having a little fun, the whole reason the episode became themed of being gay was because of her big standoff with her neighbor, Alec, who, wasn't really agreeing with her when they went to that neighborhood watch meeting about her possum situation and overall security in the neighborhood. What did you all think of his name?
Something that I loved was when he said hipsters trying to be farmers, and it was all Nicole. I think she's the problem. Obviously, she's the one with the chickens and the goats.
She had the goats and the turtles.
The turtles. And that's what he was saying. He's like, well, it's all these hipsters trying to be farmers, but I think it was literally just Nicole who, was pretty much the only person who's doing that.
Right.
But I thought that was really funny.
Right. No, it was hilarious. And her rebuttal to that about, we didn't move to the hills to get security cameras and live like we're in North Korea. I felt like that was a very snappy
It seems very realistic for that type of neighborhood, though, because you have two types of people now. Ones who want high security, who live in a very affluent area, and the others who live in those areas and that do have chicken coops and want to be able to do whatever they want on the real estate that they have. And in LA, real estate is so expensive that if you have any sort of grass or yard around you, that is yours to claim. You're going to do what you want with it within your city rights.
Right.
And that's what Nicole's doing. So she has her chicken coop and her tortoises and her goat milk. And I see both sides of that, truthfully. Now we're seeing it from a comedic standpoint, but I don't know that I'd want cameras everywhere.
Yeah, I don't.
Depending on where they are, but it seemed like he wanted them everywhere.
Right. But to be honest, with the value of the homes that they live in, I kind of thought they would already have some sort of security camera system in place.
Also, if the problems are the animals.
Right.
I was
control.
confused at the whole situation where because she came in addressing, the animals, and he was like, okay, security cameras right off the bat. I'm like, what is a security camera going to do to an animal?
Right.
You're going to spot it, but now what?
Did anyone else notice? That is probably not her neighborhood.
That
definitely
is
not.
Her neighborhood.
When they did the exterior shots, I was so disengaged. That she does not live on that street.
No.
None of those people are her neighbors.
Yeah. No.
And that was not the hills. That was a surface street somewhere in LA. So there were some things that
was in Burbank.
They were cutting corners this time. So
When she was parading outside, I was like, this is not
she your
neighborhood at all.
And I thought it was interesting too that we didn't even see her house in this episode. We saw the little area where
that wasn't even her back. What was that?
Of course not.
That was like a park.
Where they threw everything out?
Yes. It was not a backyard.
The believability factor with this episode was at a strong, 1.
Yeah.
On a scale of 1 to 10.
Do you know what I think is missing that gives it the authenticity is her family. Before I said Sophia, isn't going to be in the season, which I think really helped propel each episode because you saw a strong connection that was real between those two. The same thing with Lionel. He's only been in a couple of episodes, very minimally.
We only have 2 episodes to go, so it's come back, Papa Richie.
And to Jordana's point, they had a lot of fresh faces in this episode, so you don't have that connection. You don't feel, even though sometimes you notice this probably isn't 100% real, it's still more believable. And this was just, it was too much. It really took you out of the episode
at all. That's exactly what it was. That's what I didn't like about this episode. It wasn't believable at all.
Definitely.
Also, I think just like I said, those people that we saw in this episode,
they look like extras.
Yeah, and they were just kind of like, just kind of,
They weren't even doing that great with the facial expressions. Come on, man.
They were boring. Very boring.
If we were on Candidly Nicole as extras, we would be giving all of the faces, reacting.
You would give the face.
Oh, the face.
The face.
Always. We all have to keep up with her.
Did anyone else notice the guy, if you're watching the TV, he's in the right-hand corner waving the flag, and they kept trying to pan to him, but it's like he wasn't paying attention to what the cameras were doing. It's like I was going to catch him on his phone or something, because they cut away from him really quick. And all I could watch during that scene when they were parading in front of the truck that they pulled up on was that man. I just kept looking back to him. So if anyone wants to go back and watch that, he's so distracting once you notice him. So you have to go and look for him. Bottom right-hand corner, he's the last guy at the end of the truck. And I think he just wandered on there, didn't know where he was, what he was doing.
Oh, gosh.
They just put him in a tank top and said, here, you're on camera.
Our extra didn't come in, fill in, $50.
Yeah, probably.
But speaking about the parade of people, so the whole gangbangers thing, Nicole figured out her solution to her problem instead of, trying to mediate, was to make her neighbor, who is a gay man, her best friend, and turn her neighborhood gay, which she discussed with her friends.
And I love how before that, when she was with her 2 friends, how she just expects everyone to love her. She's like, I don't understand why he doesn't like me. I'm like, well, and then the guys, her friends were like, well, not all gay people are gonna like you, Nicole, know. But I thought that was just so funny because I feel like in every episode we kind of see something like, why don't they like me, or something like that.
Well, speaking as a gay, I can tell you, I would assume every gay guy likes her, which is so far fetched. But I think for the gay community, we see something in her that we like and generally gravitate to because she's so friendly, and I think that's kind of the aspect of her characteristic, that it's not necessarily even gay men, but it's wide groups of people, because she makes everyone feel like she's their best friend. We've talked about this before.
Yep, definitely.
But gay men, I think, are a little bit more exuberant and fit with her type of energy. So that's probably why she assumes that. She probably does have a large group of gay friends, and from what we can see on all of her social media, she has a huge gay following.
Definitely.
So for one to
not like her,
push her to the side, I think would probably hurt her ego.
Mm-hmm.
Real or fake?
I actually read an article this morning on the Huffington Post, which described just that, saying that the gay community really loves Nicole Richie, and that she's become a gay icon because she kind of represents the free love, the openness, and being yourself, being unique, and
we saw that.
Oh yeah,
when she was paraded around.
Oh, definitely saw that. But some of the words in the piece came from the co-executive producer of Candidly Nicole, so that was really great to see that this isn't just a general consensus of a community, but people who actually work on the show are, saying the same thing, that she's a really great representation and an ally.
Well, and she is, and I think that that's the other thing to look at when you're analyzing the show and probably critiquing it for some of her gay fans that maybe think it was a little too stereotypical, or it shed a negative light on some of the things. They made a comment about the composting bin looking like Clay Aiken's trash can, which again I thought was really funny.
Yeah.
But you have to think for her. A lot of people are saying this now that we're all so politically correct and we're all so conscientious of what we say.
I feel like it's been the year of PC.
That it's killing comedy. And so for her to try and talk about something like you said that's controversial and still be funny, that's something that a lot of people aren't even willing to do anymore because they're so hesitant about the backlash that, again, that brings a little bit more realism to who she is and the show because she's not going to back off because someone might say something.
Right. And I mean, she does have the track record of being a huge supporter, so it's a good thing to fall back on when people do bring up, you know, the things that can be very controversial from her.
I agree.
But what was your first reaction, guys? So, like when they came out with the gangbangers on their truck and waving the flags.
So cute. They're just it's so funny. It's so, and then her little red shorts.
All right.
Just like dancing up there.
Yeah,
I love so Nicole.
I love the snappy.
A little snappy. Yeah. Or when they get off of the car and they start like doing their choreographed like dance.
Oh,
See,
yeah.
I'm so negative. I really didn't like anything about this episode. That was actually the one thing that I disliked the most.
Oh, wow.
Was
Yeah.
the choreographed dancing
That's
right into the camera.
That's when you know that it was like so choreographed. Like this episode.
It wasn't like
real.
I think most shows what they do really well is like you're witnessing something unravel. And this was almost like you were in a production, which they've spoken about her show saying that it's not a reality TV show, which is fine. But what they've done really well in the past is make it feel that way. Even if it's parody, even if it's something unrealistic, they make you feel like this would definitely happen. We've all been there. And I think that's what makes us relate to it so much is that we think we've all been there. We've all had that happen. And these last few, not many of us have to break up with a waxing lady.
Yeah.
Not many of us have to win over a neighbor because of something silly. And really, I think the strangest part is in LA, no one talks to their neighbors.
Yeah.
Everyone's very independent.
I don't know anyone out here who's been to a neighborhood watch meeting.
I don't even know if do they even exist.
We don't live in rich
think-
areas, I don't think.
Well, true.
But,
That also,
yeah.
but
I
yeah.
mean, that's, like I said too before, this wasn't one of my favorite episodes, but there were moments where I was just like dying of laughter.
Right.
Like I said, that part when she comes out and starts dancing, I'm just like, it's Nicole. She's so funny when she does things like things
Right.
like this. But so it was. I see what you're saying. But
I'd be curious to know what the listeners think to see, because now we've had a few, like the mid-season funk,
Yeah.
that you really like this episode. I didn't care for it as much. I'd be curious to know what they think and if they thought it was
you guys
as
need
produced.
to tweet us.
Right.
Tweet us if
You
you're
guys-
watching right now.
You guys need to tweet us, go on Instagram, comment, and let us know what you think. Also go on to YouTube and iTunes and rate us. Let us know how we're doing, 5 stars, 4 stars, and give us your opinions. Do you agree with what we're saying, or do you have another perspective? Let us know so that we can, follow up and make sure that next episode is the best episode ever. But you're
You know what? Just speaking of that really quick, something that as we talk about this, I feel like this episode, there's not as much to recap, if you've noticed. Like, there's not as many specific points that we've talked about because it was just kind of one whole, I don't know, it was just like one whole blob of.
right.
I feel like most of the episodes are chapters.
Yeah, and we like get a lot of information, and in the past we see a lot going on.
Yeah.
And then this one, it was just like one whole, I don't know. I don't even
It
know
was
how to
just like
explain
one ongoing
One
scene.
ongoing scene, yes.
Even the
there you
way
go.
it ended. So, going towards the end, they're
Yeah.
back at the neighborhood watch meeting and they're voting. And even the way it cut off when her and Nicole and Alec were kind of having their standoff. It's like, so what happened? Like, what was the resolution? Did you guys become friends, stay enemies? How did the vote, nothing was really resolved. It just kind of ended.
Very anticlimactic for me.
Okay, just
Yeah.
really quick, when we were back at that scene, the old man.
Yes, queen.
Yes, queen. That was so great. I love that.
It was so funny because for me, I was watching it like, who's grandpa trying to be cool in the meeting?
He actually was a next door neighbor on whatever street that was, and they said, "Sir, would you mind coming in? Just 5 minutes.
Right.
We have water, cookies. We'll make it worth your time." And
We'll put you on TV.
we interrupted his evening news watching, and he came over for a brief second to be on TV. But I think it's important to know kind of what the listeners think, because they hear so much of what we think, and we all have such different opinions.
Which is good.
Yeah.
It's for a healthy show, so we can show our different opinions and hear their different opinions.
We're passionate about it. That's why.
We're passionate about Candidly Nicole and all things Nicole Richie.
Mm-hmm.
And getting more into Nicole Richie, we do have some news and gossip for you guys.
AfterBuzz TV News.
Okay, so she has a lot going on as a businesswoman, but can you guys tell us about one of her ventures with a huge beauty?
Well, we all know that she has her hands in just about everything right now. Being an entrepreneur is kind of moving her to the limelight more so than being on reality TV. And her new partnership with Birchbox is now being promoted. If you pay attention to any of the commercials, I think they're airing between some of the different episodes for Birchbox, which is a beauty subscription that you get every month. It's a different box with different products. But what's neat about this one is Nicole picked what she'd like. So you're getting things that either she uses, she believes in, or she wants you to try.
I think that's so cute. I feel like, well, I've seen the commercials and I love just because they show like what the box is going to look like. And it's just so cute. I feel like I guess you get a taste of who she is, you know?
It's like shopping with Nicole.
What I like about it is she has beautiful skin. She's always put together. And so if there's someone that you want to have hand-picking things for you, it's Nicole Richie.
Yeah.
I'm a guy, so I can't really use any of the things in there. From what I saw, it's some nail polish, it's different makeup type things. There was a Saint Tropez, I never say that right. But I think it's a really good idea, and I think it's a great way for people to try a couple things that maybe she uses and gives her that beautiful glow. And if you really love Nicole Richie, I think it's an ideal thing to get. Maybe you could give as a gift. What I like is that it's subscription based, so you can cancel it anytime.
Exactly. But one thing she can't really cancel is her family.
Bye, Felicia.
I was trying to be clever there. Hit or miss. So
I liked it.
I did too.
Appreciate it, guys. So her dad, Lionel Richie, came out. He did an interview with Piers Morgan recently, actually just less than 24 hours ago. And in it, he went into depth about the whole adoption process with Nicole. And I thought it was so cute. It was so Nicole because he said the first time he saw her, she was on stage at a Prince concert. She was 4 years old and she was playing the tambourine. Aww. And he was like, who is this little girl on stage? And he goes behind stage and he realizes that she's the daughter of two of his friends and they're not in a very stable situation, not a stable relationship. They're on tour, a lot going on. So he decides to take her in and says she can stay with me for a little while till things calm down. And he just fell in love. And I mean, it's hard. We all fell in love with Nicole, so completely can see why. And eventually, after a year, he adopted her. And he said it's been one of the biggest gifts. And even when she did go through her times of drug addiction and her heroin use, she was arrested back in 2003 for that. He said that what they did as a family, he and her mother, they decided to go into rehab with her. And so he canceled his tour. He went into rehab with her because they wanted her to kick it because he had past experiences of his friends dying from similar situations. So it just really touched my heartstrings.
Yeah, that is very touching. And like, that's what I really love, like what you're saying, watching him interact with her on Candidly Nicole. I like when she brings her family in. Right. So, you know, these past episodes when we haven't seen him in them, I'm just kind of like, oh, I wish that she brings him back in because you see the connection that they have, you know? So.
Does anyone else forget that he adopted her? I forget that all the time.
That's what I remember a while ago. My mom loves Nicole Richie too, but she had no idea. She was like, because she started watching Candidly Nicole with me, and she was like, there's no way that she's adopted. I was like, no, really, like you need to go on Google and look it up. Because of the relationship they have, they're just so close.
And they look similar. They have similar skin tone, which I think for most people is how they immediately assume people are related. But they act a lot alike. If you haven't noticed that, they have
definitely
similar
a lot of
gestures.
Nature versus nurture, but heavy on the nurture.
Yes, facial expressions.
Also, probably since he adopted her so young, and she grew up with him at such a young age, she probably, you know.
You know what I didn't know, and I think that that's interesting, is that she was 4 years old. I knew that she was young, not a baby. But at 4 years old, you're making memories. I think they say your first memories are really taken at about 2.5, 3. So by 4, you really know kind of what's going on around you. So that's what I think is interesting, is that he came into that situation where she had already acclimated into the family she was with.
Right.
Now she's being pulled out of that, and more or less to a superstar. You know,
Right.
at the time.
It's not like you were just, not even a Daddy Warbucks situation like an Annie, but you're with a mega superstar as your new dad. That's crazy.
That's so cute.
For all that to kind of weigh on her and play into the different ways that she grew up, she's really come a long way. And
Definitely.
I think anyone with those situations with maybe an unhealthy living situation when you're younger and you're having to deal with that when you're older, now she's kind of the poster child for mommy and me. She's really all about her family and her husband, and it's kind of interesting to see and hear about those things because you don't often hear about her younger years.
Exactly. Yeah, so that was a really sweet piece.
That is really cute.
Yeah. But now
Touching.
we have to start wrapping
Do we
up
have
our
any
show.
predictions?
Oh, good catch.
Well, we didn't really see too much for next week.
And
Wait,
now,
I totally forgot.
your
what was-
AfterBuzz TV
What did we see?
predictions.
I'll let you know. I'll let you know because we see that she might be, having to have a funeral for her American citizenship and move to Australia in typical Nicole dramatic fashion.
I honestly think she probably was in a situation where she just had to deal with another American and it made her hate it. That's why she wants to leave. I mean, why are you really moving? And you're not American. What was she saying? She's like, bye, or singing bye to my American.
She was singing America, America
Yeah.
in the
And wearing-
field.
In the field.
And then she's like dressed as she's going to a funeral. Come on. I wonder what exactly happened.
See, some of that stuff looked funny to me. But then again, these are kind of those episodes that are they can either do it really well or I'll be checked out of it right away because it'll be too much. But from the preview, I think it's going to be funny. Because she's almost so over the top in this one that it's kind of a joke.
Right.
And the one thing that in all the episodes, even this one, she never changes. She makes you she never breaks character.
Yeah.
Never breaks.
So I think
she is the character.
Right. I think that's the one thing. It's kind of the saving grace for the show is that at least you always have her. Whatever she's in, you're kind of watching, hesitating. No, never breaks character. It's always her.
Right. And also, I think it will be a really good episode because we see her dad's in it.
Yeah.
We see
Welcome back,
Catherine.
Lionel.
Her old friends are.
Yes, just like we returned together today.
Yep.
The old crew is coming back for next episode, which I'm so stoked for. And I think it'll be hilarious.
Yeah.
So let's keep our fingers crossed. So guys, stay tuned. Make sure you watch next week's episode and that you come back and you watch with us. And we recap together this lovely Candidly Nicole show. And don't forget to tweet us. You can tweet me at VivaciouslyViv.
And you can tweet and Instagram me at BAMARLO.
And you can tweet and Instagram me at Jordana_Morphin.
And also check out vivaciouslyvivian.com. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to comment and vote and subscribe. And have a great day.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.